with a video laryngoscope, and we'll talk about extubation. We'll have you guys go through that, and then we'll do NGOG tubes. So there's a lot of different video laryngoscopes out there. There's only a few that are printed in the county, one of which is the King Vision. The only department that I know that currently has them is Chula Vista. They're about like $1,300 a piece.
That's it.
So for San Diego to buy them, you know, 1,300 times however many rigs they have, it costs a lot of money. So, but the disposable part is the blade, and that's only about $30. So this is the expensive part.
It's like a camera.
What's that?
It's like a camera screen.
Yeah. Hence
Like
the
a
video.
digital camera.
The video. That's where the video part comes in.
That makes sense now.
So
I was wondering about that.
There's two different blades. They're both adult blades. I don't have any pediatric ones available yet, at least for the King Vision. And the only difference is this is the tracked version, and this is the untracked version. So the track is this part right here. And what that does is holds the ET tube. So you just stick the ET tube in here, and you're going to use it without a stylet. So you set it up just like that. So it goes in the tracked version like that. If you're using the untracked version, you'll just pass this, visualize, and then pass the ET tube through. The tracked version is generally preferred. It's a little bit bigger, so if you have a patient with a smaller mouth, that's when you go to the untracked version. But other than that, the tracked version works really well. So make sure to turn the camera on after you've attached the blade to the body of the laryngoscope. Otherwise, what happens is you get this little snow screen, and it turns into a bunch of lines like that. So if you guys get that screen, just turn it back off. And then back on. And then you can see the camera screen. Also known as video.
I meant a Game Boy screen.
No. Alright, so to set it up, we'll say that my partner's already ventilating the patient with an OPA in place, DVM. He's getting good compliance with that. We've already checked the cuff on this, and we're good to go. We'll lube it up a little bit, and then place it in the track. So see how we can see just the tip of the tube right here? You want to pull it back out to where you can't visualize the ET tube anymore. So it's just out of reach of the screen. And that's where it's set up. You hold this a little bit differently than you do normal laryngoscope. Normal laryngoscope, we're going to hold like this, right? And then go in. If we do that, typically we'll go in too deep, and it'll be an esophageal tube. One other thing is we don't use the stylet with it, because we want it to follow the natural curvature here. So no stylet. So when we hold this, we just hold a couple fingers right down here, open up the mouth, we insert parallel with the chest, and then basically walk it down. You guys want to stand up a little bit. So, and then walk it down the back of the tongue. Right here. Then we're going to walk down the back of the tongue. So we can see we've gone in too deep here. Pick up a little bit. Go into the vallecula. And just pass our tube. Okay. And pull it off.
Aha. It's the future. The future.
Can you hand me that BVM right there? And then verify the tube just like we normally would, right? Also take epigastric sounds, lung sounds, make sure our end-tidal's on here. That's it. Alright. Oh, actually, I gotta put all this stuff on here, so we can talk about extubation. This. Okay, the easiest way to put this on is, or what works best for me, I'm holding the tube down here, but this needs to go right there, right? So we put our fingers here, we grab up a little bit higher on the tube, then we've got a stable platform because our hands resting on our cheek right here. So as we're bouncing down the road, we bounce together. If you hold it up here like this, what happens when we bounce down the road?
Willy-nilly.
Yeah, we go all over the place. So place it just like this. Put a tube tin right here. I get this close, but don't tighten it up just yet until we put the strap on. That way, if the tube tin is not all the way tight against their lips, that we don't push the tube in farther when we tighten the strap on. So tighten that down, and we're all secure. Cool? Mm-hmm. All right. So for extubation, when will we extubate somebody?
Once they're able to breathe on their own.
Okay, so they're able to maintain an airway. What else?
Increasing LC.
Okay. That goes along with being able to maintain an airway. So increasing LFC. If they have an intact gag reflex, so that goes along with
Same thing.
increasing LFC. What else?
So that would be like a forceful cough you'd be seeing.
They generally start what we call bucking the tube. They'll start to chew on it, and they'll start to grab for it.
Oh, okay.
All right. When else will we pull it to?
The doctor says so.
Don't listen to the doctors. What if the tube's bad?
Yeah.
What if the pilot balloon's flat and we keep adding air to it and it doesn't inflate?
Ineffective innovation.
Ineffective innovation. So we'll say the tube was
Bad.
originally verified. It was a good tube, and we're 10 minutes into transport, and pilot balloon's flat. What should we do first?
Try to inflate it.
Try and add more air to it. Okay, so say we add air to it, it's still flat. So that it's not a good tube anymore, right? So can we pull that standing order? Do we need a base hospital order?
Based off
Standing
You
order,
guys are
guys. Come
suckers!
I didn't think
Suckers.
I said standing order. Come on, guys.
So anytime it's a bad tube, we can pull it standing order. The only time we need a base hospital order is if it's a good verified tube. If they start regaining consciousness, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll get an order for Versed to snow the patient to put them down as opposed to pulling the tube. Because you only want to pull the tube when you're 100% sure that they can maintain their own airway. Because it looks really bad and the lawyers love it when you pull the tube and then you go 2 minutes later, you re-intubate the patient. That's not a good thing, right? That was very bad. So extubating in the field like this doesn't happen very often. Generally, we'll just snow the patient. But we'll say we have the bag on it, he starts bucking the tube. You'll have to probably restrain him a little bit, talk to him, try and calm him down, let him know you're going to get the tube out just as soon as possible. We have to go through, we have to talk to the hospital and all that kind of stuff. Take the bag off, right? If he can breathe on his own, he can breathe through this tube. He doesn't need the bag on anymore, right? If he can't maintain adequate SATs and in tidal without the bag, he can't maintain his own airway, right? So take the bag off, talk to the hospital, make sure we can pull it. As soon as we get the order to pull it, what we're going to do is we're going to lay him on his left side, deflate the cuff first, because what happens if he just decides, I can't take this anymore, and as soon as we start taking the strap off, he yanks that thing out and the cuff's still inflated.
Damage the vocal cords.
Yeah, vocal cords come along with it. That's not good. That means the tube was good at one time, but it's not really good anymore. So I suggest you guys deflate this before you start taking off the tube tin or tool tape or whatever. So deflate the cuff. He's on the left side. Make sure you guys have suction ready, and then you're gonna tell him to cough. And as he coughs, you're just gonna pull it out in one fluid motion. All right. If he vomits at all, you just suction out that vomit and then lay him back over. Put him on non-rebreather and reassess his airway status.
So the whole time he's laying on his side while you're doing this, and then are you still holding on to it at all times? Or is there still kind of an emphasis on keeping your hand on it at all times?
If he started grabbing for it and he was bucking the tube and I was trying to get an order for extubation, I would hold on to it.
Okay.
To make sure, yeah. Hopefully you have somebody else back there that can restrain his hands, and you got to do the best you can. If not, that's where you got knees and stuff like that. But you got to try. You want to keep him from pulling it out. Him self-extubating is not a good thing. It's not going to go very well.
Have you ever seen anybody that woke up and was like super chill? Like, oh, cool.
It happens. It's not. Most people aren't okay with it.
Okay.
Yeah. So That's extubation. Any questions?